of that Affinity deck. On the left, Jeremy Stowe playing Rug Delver. And, I mean, it was an impressive showing from Jeremy defeating Dredge. I mean, he's going to have to cut a path through a bunch of weird, non-traditional decks. First Dredge, then Lands. And if he beats this, waiting in the finals is Elves? What a mix of decks. I will say, this, I mean, considering how many people have been talking about Grizzlebrand being Grizzle banned, and people talking about Lantex and, you know, its potential shakeups, and the fact that Brainstorm and Force of Will have been so dominant for so long. I mean, at this top 8, how many of these decks didn't even play Brainstorm or Force of Will? We have 2 Elf decks, a Lands deck, a Dredge deck, a Maverick deck. Only 3 of the decks in the top 8 even played... Oh, Affinity too! Only 2 of the decks in the top 8 played Brainstorm or Force of Will. That's wild. Literally just 1 Rug Delver and 1 Stoneblade, the 2 decks that we've been talking about as being pillars of this format, but only 2 Brainstorm Force of Will decks. Is it possible? Is Legacy actually a healthy format? Despite Grizzlebrand and now Lantex? What is going on?
I do wonder how many Gristlebrands showed up. I mean, I don't know what kind of metagame breakdown that Glenn Jones has put together for us, but hopefully there will be that information so we can kind of get a glance and see, did Gristlebrand just not show up in the room? You know, it's pretty cool when you've got like a major boxing tournament and then the champ doesn't show up. On the left here, Jeremy Stowe, Rug Delver, Bobby Kovacs on the right. Both of these players poring over the details of their opponent's deck list. Bobby, the first one to look up. He's like prepared to figure out exactly how he needs to sculpt his game with lands, such that he can defend against the aggressive possibilities that Rug Delver delivers. Rug Delver is by many considered to be a descendant of Canadian Threshold. That's, to me, a little ironic since we are on the threshold of Canada. Right across the river, I can literally see Canada from where I'm sitting. That's really kind of cool, I think. We have a broken smiley face from Jeremy Stowe there with his cards laid out. And Bobby Kovacs, his cards all in hand, ready to start playing. And we see, with these two, there is no coin flip. Instead, your seed in the Swiss, that means Bobby Kovacs, second seed, gets to choose to play. We see a mulligan from Jeremy Stowe. Bobby Kovacs content with his hand. Off camera, we have two friends, Caleb Durward and Chris Anderson, playing the Elves Mirror match. It's important to note that yesterday, Caleb, no idea what he wanted to play today. And today, Caleb and Chris, 60 card mirrors for the game one, but a very different sideboard than each other. Only, I believe, 4 Fairy Macabre and 2 Thorn of Amethyst shared by the two decks, as well as Mortarpod, Kasali Pride Mage, and Gaddock. There's a lot of other cards that are just different in this sideboard. Now, that match, we'll see which one of Patrick Chapin's White Hats, Caleb Durward or Chris Anderson, will continue fourth with Elves. Meanwhile, lands up a card because Jeremy has had to mulligan. Lands on the play, and we are about to begin.
Oh, you can tell. Jeremy's going to keep that hand.
Okay, I guess this is fine.
Yep.
Turn 1 Exploration.
Wow.
Force. Good call.
For sure. For sure. He's got to slow Bobby down. In Exploration, it's almost like you're taking a turn and a half every turn.
Anything else? Mox. And it works. Anything else with the Mox? No.
Passes
Back to Jeremy.
Dude, I would have loved it if you would have played another Exploration. Just for the tilt factor. Alright, so it's still blowing my mind, the playing 2 mana bonds. Like, how... Okay, people in the Twitterverse, explain to us, what is there... Maybe there's something we're missing. Is there... Because it's possible. I mean, legacy technology changes so rapidly. Are we missing something?
I mean, I imagine Mana Bond as one of those cards, much like, let's say, Careful Study in Dredge. You want to get that Life from the Loam in the yard more than you really want to, be messing around with casting it. initially.
Well, and plus, like, you just need to have as many fast bonds as you can get. Like, that's like what you do.
And Jeremy Stowe with his own version of a 1 casting cost green spell, a 1/1 creature.
What a mongoose. Sorry, mongoose. Tabernacle, ensuring Jeremy will never have mana to play anything ever again. And Mana Bond, ensuring Bobby can play whatever he wants for free, as much as he wants, from now on.
Does he have the loam? What's he got? Or did he not play? He only played 1 land. Never mind.
He doesn't want to discard his card. I think he's got an intuition in his hand, so he doesn't want to discard his hand.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan, joined by Patrick Chapin. This is the semifinals.
What up?
208 players, now down to 4.
It's exciting. So Wasteland on the Tabernacle means Jeremy Stowe has the possibility of having a mana on his main phase again.
Is that a Mazavith?
Yeah, but that's
not
what you want
effective against the Nimble Mongoose. Untargetables.
Mongoose.
Sadly, Nimble Mongoose cannot be targeted even by you.
Well, so there's a humility in play, right?
In with the goose.
The goose is loose.
There we go. And a goif.
The goofy goif and the goose.
That is a small goif. Only 2/3 currently.
3/4, right? Because of the exploration?
Oh, yeah, exploration. 3/4. Thank you very much. Oblivion Stone. We saw this earlier.
Yeah.
Might be a little slow this time.
Absolutely. I mean, that Mazavith helps, though, because it does hold off the goofy goif.
Take that, goif.
Dude, drop Winter Orb. Teach them some things. Or back to basics. Who cares if you have no basics yourself? Yes. Dude, what would this land deck do? I would love to freaking back to
boy.
basics the hell out of this.
Maze number 2 protects Bobby from a wasteland.
Yeah, and that doesn't even really matter because at this point he's pretty much in on the goose. But what he needs to do is figure out how to get some cards in his graveyard because he needs that mongoose to be in some triple time.
Only 1 damage a turn. 3 cards in Jeremy Stowe's.
Yes.
There we go. Look
It's
at that.
another card in the graveyard.
Days. Intuition does not work. Another land from Bobby Kovacs. 1 mana short of being able to activate the Oblivion Stone for explosion, but he can begin to protect his own permanence.
Yeah, and at this point, Jeremy has 4 cards in the graveyard, right? With two fetch lands, making it a virtual 6. If he can find a way to get 1 more card in his own graveyard, his Nimble Mongoose is switching into triple speed. And then I don't know if you've ever seen a mongoose go that fast, but that's pretty fast.
There it is. He's there. Threshold has been achieved.
Yes.
Goodbye, goose in a daze.
All right. Totally respectable. The goose is now actually loose.
Triple the damage. Ponder.
Love it. The fetch lands, the discipline, not cracking those fetch lands because he wants the shuffle. What's he looking for game 1?
I think he's looking for an ooze amongst other things, but before he can lay that ooze, that Oblivion Stone is a problem.
So what about Stifle? He's got 4 Stifles main deck. It'd be so hot to do it on the Oblivion Stone, right?
Let's see what the Oblivion Stone reads.
Well, no, it's sacrifice, so otherwise you could just put a counter on itself to protect itself and then just blow everything up. Is that right? Or is it just put a counter on another?
I actually have no idea.
Oblivion Ring?
Oblivion Stone.
Oblivion Stone?
Sacrifice is a part of the cost, so yes, a Stifle would be
Stifle
devastating.
Would be hot with a capital. Hot. God, these Rug Delver decks, so good, so consistent. Such a low curve and so many good, meaningful pieces of interaction despite spending so little mana.
What's he protecting? He's protecting
his Mox,
a fate counter on the Mox.
What to do? What to do?
Bobby Kovacs still has a comfortable life total, though.
16 means...
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. All right, so even more. An even bigger life total. And he decides to play it out anyway, because in case he faces a wasteland, he wants to just get the extra free 2 life.
Zuran Orb. Such a cool old card. And Fate on the Zuran Orb.
A good choice.
That is the land he needs to make Oblivion Stone work.
Cracks now. Even if Jeremy had the Stifle, though, he'd save it for the Oblivion Stone.
4 stifle. That's not messing around.
No. There are some people who mess around, and then there's Jeremy Stowe.
I don't think I have seen a 4 stifle Rug Delver list in quite a long time.
Dude, he wants to get busy. He's been playing very well, too.
Jeremy cracking his first land amongst these he's saved up, I should say.
Love how well he's been able to adapt to each of these environments. I mean, he's playing against dredge, lands, and soon-to-be elves.
Oh, that
There's
is the stifle. Is there anything that Bobby can do to bring back that Oblivion Stone?
Academy runes.
There it is. One of...
But with intuition to find it, including the loam package.
Yep.
He also has access to Ensnaring Bridge, which can completely lock Jeremy out. Because game 1, Jeremy... I mean, at this point, Bobby's life total is low enough that Jeremy could theoretically compile enough lightning bolts to finish the job. But it'd be tough.
Do you think it was right, way back in the day, for Zurin Orb to be restricted in Standard? Or Type 2, as it was?
So you're saying it's going to take a few more hits?
Yeah. But I mean, was it right for it to be restricted?
In Standard?
Yeah. Or in what was Standard in Type 2, yeah.
Sure. I mean, it slows games down. Same reason you ban Sensei Divining Top in Extended.
Fair.
And you ban Legacy land tax. Wait a minute.
I was just thinking that.
But no, I mean, Zurin Orb isn't even good anymore. I mean, it's okay in this deck. Obviously, he's got 36 land. But Maze of Ith bouncing the Tarmogoyf. Nimble Mongoose successfully hitting.
What do we got? Wasteland.
AKA 2 life. What's tough is that the Nimble Mongoose is only doing 3 a turn, but every land Bobby draws is 2 a turn. And when Bobby eventually draws life from the loam, it's going to be brutal.
Yep. And gain 2 life, go to 5, then take 3, go to 2. This is not something that Bobby can sustain. He needs action and intuition, a life from the loam.
Well, he can sustain this for quite a while, though, right? Like, he's only actually net losing 1 each turn that he draws a land. And if he ever draws a loam or an intuition...
Crime. 1 card. There you go.
Huh. Alright. Well, there you go.
Raven's Crime. The first one is probably the only one we're going to see cast.
Well, this is game 1.
I mean, in terms of, we're not going to see it retraced at this point in the game. Most likely.
Not until Bobby gets to a situation where he can actually be loaming. But by then, it'll be over anyway. Right now, Maze of Ith holding off the Tarmogoyf and the Mongoose ticking away, which means Bobby's on to sacrifice his lands. You know, sacrifice a land 2 out of 3 turns.
And there's a Tranquil Thicket, and dun dun dun. The first loam is stopped.
Jeremy buys himself a turn, but every turn he's going to have to do this, and it's going to, like, if he ever falls behind.
That mana bond is waiting.
I know. It's going to be like, I mean, if Life from the Loam ever resolves, Jeremy's got very little way to actually, I mean, very little counterplay at all if that loam ever resolves.
He has to lose 2 lands here in order to make sure his life total is high enough that the Nimble Mongoose doesn't kill him. Jeremy Stowe, perhaps with a burn spell in hand. Here gets the dredge on Life from the Loam. There it is. This is a critical moment.
One more counterspell could knock Bobby down so low.
Do you have it? Fetch.
Brainstorm? Or is he just hard casting Force of Will?
It might be a hard cast. Oh, that is devastating. Okay, I think we're going to see one last turn for Bobby Kovacs to recover from this.
Right, like he's still got another turn because all he needs to do this turn is eat 1 land, and he'll still have 2 mana to cast Loam, and he'll have the Maze. There's the Force Will. I mean, he can actually keep this up for 2 more turns, because even on the turn that, like, there's going to be eventually a turn where he sacks his Maze.
Yeah, you're right.
After using it,
That's true.
You know, he's going to have to sack 2 land, but if he draws a land in the next 2 turns, and his deck's got 36 of them. Oh, he's not going to draw a land though. He's drawing Loam every turn.
That's right.
Wow.
This is the moment. Are you going to go for it, Bobby? No, this is his last turn, I believe, then.
Yeah, he decides he has to do it this way so that he doesn't get wastelanded out.
And the goose.
Goose is loose. This is the moment of truth. This loam is it.
This is it. Well, let's see.
Does it resolve?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, 2 mongoose, on the other hand,
Amazivith too.
does mean 6 damage coming in.
Yeah. Now that he's actually taking 6 a turn, he's going to start falling behind. But he has
He can gain 6 a turn and he loses 6 a turn, but that's just staying in place.
But he's dredging through his deck.
Right.
Because what he can eventually do is find engineered explosives with Academy Ruin if he's got enough mana, or he can find a cycling land so that he can actually get ahead on cards.
Yes, if he can get a there is a cycling land in the yard. He cycled earlier. He's got a tranquil thicket in the yard. Ooh.
Don't know if he's just too bottlenecked on mana.
Here's the maze.
So, Jeremy at this point, amusingly, needs to find lightning bolts. Although, actually, counterspells would be good too. Just countering life from the loam buys you another turn.
And it wouldn't be bad to get a Ponder or a Brainstorm to look for those.
Absolutely. I mean, Bobby,
Okay.
Bobby finally did what he wanted, but he's
Perhaps a turn too late.
He's literally with his back against the wall. He cannot have a single slip or he will die immediately.
The dredge.
Dredge again. What is the plan here? Life from the loam resolves again. Mazavith.
Academy Ruins.
Academy Ruins, sure. Another tropical island.
Mazavith down.
So now he's going to be able to Academy Ruins the Engineer Explosives for 1.
And he'll have the mana to activate it.
And he's going to lose his mana bond. Right? Like he's going to lose his mana bond this way. But at least he'll be able to start making forward progress.
Now, will this Brainstorm seal it up anyway?
What a good game. Bobby Kovacs, 1 life.
If you're just joining us, this is the semi-final match of the Star City Games Live Open Series in Detroit, Michigan. Jeremy Stowe on the left with Rug Delver, Bobby Kovacs on the right with Lance. This is game 1. Mazavith untaps the attacking. Oh, Stifle.
Whoa!
Oh,
Wow.
Zing.
I think that's gonna
Stifle,
be it, 'cause
stopping the maze.
in order for him to sack, like he can sack all of his land in order to, wait, is that even enough?
He might not, I don't know how big that Tarmogoyf is, but I bet you it's
No,
big.
you pack it up. That's
There
it.
we go.
Wow. Impressive game. Well done by Jeremy Stowe.
And it's exactly as you were predicting. Essentially, the Rug Delver deck, with its stifles, with its limited use of counterspells just here and there, managing to put enough pressure on lands that lands back into a corner, practically locked. And now, going to go to the second game for sideboarding.
Wow. And after sideboarding, I mean, Bobby Kovacs, he's used to having an advantage against a lot of people who don't have the graveyard hate. He's actually facing graveyard hate.
That's right.
All right. So, before anything else, we're gonna do our 6 months of premium.
That's right. Half a year of free Star City Games Premium.
Yes.
Now that's a lot of Magic writing to be read for free instead of paying the premium prices, which are pretty good anyway. But getting them for free for 6 months, a deal. 0, better
Who
than
doesn't like to win?
winning is good.
So-
So how do you do it? Right here.
You got a trivia question?
I do, unless you have one that you really like.
No. First, I saved mine for the finals. I got one.
Hashtag SCG Premium. That's the thing that we need to see in order for you to be one of the lucky people out there who can win 6 free months of Star City Games Premium. Stick around for the finals. A Gen Con badge is at stake.
First 6 months of premium. The
That's
dollar
right.
bills, y'all. Trivia
That's right.
question. Tweet at us SCG Premium hashtag and SCG Live. Question
right.
is.
The question is... Okay, so the question is, we already have talked about, there were 7 different archetypes in this top 8. 2 of them were these elves lists. So, the question I have for all of you all, what creature is a not white creature in the elves list used for the kill? What creature from the elves list, a not green, it's a white creature. What white creature?
Hey, are we talking about the dragon?
What white creature is used for the kill in the elves list played by both Chris Anderson and Caleb Durward? What white creature used for the kill?
We're not going to accept Kasali Pride Mage or Gaddock Teague.
Thank you.
Or Harmonic Sliver.
Back to the match at hand in this semifinal match. Not the Elves match. Instead, the Rug Delver versus Lance. You already talked a little bit about Rug Delver having yet more weapons from the sideboard to bring in to interact with this opponent.
He's got Tormod's Crypts to help catch a loam and just to hit all those lands so that he can't get them back. He's got Pithing Needle in case he needs to hit, like a Rashadan Port or Wasteland, but also just sometimes you just need Mana Bond.
That's right.
Or Academy Ruins or Explosives or Oblivion Stone. I mean, there's a lot of uses. It's like a stifle from now on. He's got Life from the Loam, which can help him keep up with the land destruction from Bobby Kovacs, as well as sometimes go after Kovacs' land. And he's got Surgical Extraction to try to catch a loam slipping, if you know what I mean, yo.
From the other side, Bobby Kovacs definitely has one Engineered Explosives that's coming in. And I think the only other card I see that might be a card I would consider... Well, there's two other cards. Cursed Totem to potentially shut down a Scavenging Ooze.
Not worth it.
Or
not for just one.
Or the question of Dark Confidant, just to try to keep yourself being filled up with cards, because most of your cards are going to do 0 damage to you.
I don't think he's going to want the Confidant either, because one, it's possible that some burn would still be there, and two, he's going to be under so much pressure, the life loss is going to be too important. He might do some amount of Dark Confidant, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question of it is something that the lands experts might have even debates about. I don't know. I am not a lands expert.
See, what I think what he's going to do is he's going to bust out Chalice of the Void.
Chalice of the Void at 1 on the play.
Exactly. Even if he just goes Chalice on 1, it stops future Delvers and Mongoose. The Mongoose. It stops Stifle, Ponder, Brainstorm, Spell Pierce, Thought Scour, Pithing Needle, Surgical Extraction.
Almost a better way to think about it, right, is if a Chalice for 1 drops onto the table, what spells can Jeremy Stowe cast?
He's down to 3 Goyce, a Scavenging Ooze, and then some cards like Daze and Force of Will. Other than that, his entire deck is locked out. So I think Chalice of the Void is going to come in and be a superstar. I think that's his big plan. Even on the draw, he's going to want 4 Chalice of the Void, and he's going to want to do it for 1, and it's going to be sweet.
That's totally true.
Now, he is down a game. He is down a game, so he's got an uphill battle, but that's a very potent set of a very potent tool. What I wonder is, when are we going to see some of these like turn 1 Delver draws? You know, like turn 1 Mongoose, turn 2 Delver, or whatever. You know, just come, or turn 1 Delver, turn 2 Mongoose, and just come out super aggro.
When? Maybe now. We'll find out.
All right, so we have an update. Caleb has defeated Chris Anderson to beat the Elf deck in the finals. Caleb Durwald, he told me earlier in the hall, he said, I didn't want to play Elves. I didn't want to play Elves, but it was the right call this weekend.
That's right.
And he was right. He was right.
So let's pretend, just for the sake of argument, that Bobby has a good game in Game 2. I'm not saying he does. Let's pretend he has a good game in Game 2. Since he has to win 2 in a row, he has to be at about 70% for his next 2 games to even have a coin flip against Jeremy. So being down that game, it is a real burden. Now that's assuming, of course, that Bobby would have that advantage. I don't know that is even the case.
Yeah, definitely do not know that he has that big of an advantage, but I know that based on the way he's been playing before, he's definitely cool with it. He's definitely laid back. He's got, he knows what he has to do. He's got the tools to do it. Particularly those Chalice of the Voids. I think those Chalice of the Voids, I mean, I think he's going to get at least one of the next 2 games easy, just in a free Chalice win. And it's very possible. I mean, he's got a 75% chance, almost a 70% chance of just, about a 67 to 70% chance of just having 2 Chalice games in a row if he can stick it. It's actually going to be almost dangerous for when he's on the play, for Jeremy to tap out on the first turn.
Look at this, turn 1 Mox Diamond, and it works.
Is this a turn 1 Chalice?
It might be.
If this is a turn 1 Chalice, that is going to be...
Oh my goodness.
Told you, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby actually has a a 70% matchup or better, because those chalices are just unbeatable, and he doesn't even have, like, I mean, he doesn't even have grudge or anything. He has no artifact removal in his graveyard, his sideboard.
Jeremy now in the rough position where only 4 of his 4 cards in his deck can do damage, and all of them can be Mazavithed.
Yeah, he has 4 Mazeable creatures left, 7 0-mana counterspells, and none of his other cards in his entire deck. Oh, he also has 2 Torment Scripts, but none of his other cards in his deck do anything. He has Life from the Loam, I guess. He can be on the Wasteland Lock you plan. It's a tough way to do it.
Yeah, trying to Wasteland Lock the lands deck when you are not a lands deck is a hard one.
That is a tough way to go. So, as we talked about, that just Chalice for 1 if it sticks. Man, he even had like Spell Pierce and Daze and all sorts of stuff, but turn 1 Chalice for 1 on the play is real tough.
And Glenn Jones chiming in once again. Yes, that was Chris Anderson losing to his own deck in the other side of the brackets. Turn 2 Life from the Loam.
So, it's actually basically, like, at this point, Jeremy's full unlocked, right?
I don't know that there's anything Jeremy can do.
Oh, no, okay, I see. Because the Wasteland, it's not full locked, because the Wasteland can't hit the Misty Rainforest and the land that fetches in the same turn. He's close. Jeremy needs to present a clock real soon, but even that, it's like, what are you even doing? He needs that 1 Scavenging Ooze desperately. Dun 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 dun. You ever play Battle Chess? That's how you know you've lost.
A long time ago. Worth noting, the last 3 events that Chris Anderson has been in that are Star City Games events, the Indy Legacy, the Detroit Standard, and now the Detroit Legacy, Chris Anderson has top 4'd all of them.
And lost to his own deck every single time.
Oh, boy. There's like a bittersweetness there. The pleasure of the success of your other works, and then the sting of failure as you get beaten by them. 4 mana. Are we going to see a Chalice for 2?
Chalice on 2. Jeremy can no longer play spells.
Is that going to be it? Hey, I don't need my Loam anymore. I would like to lock out your deck.
If this isn't Force of Willed or Daze, he can just cast Daze. Cast Daze.
Or even, a Daze will stop that.
Yep.
Should he have the Daze? I think he does.
Yeah, he does. He had it in his opening, so this is...
One of the awesome things about that Chalice, being able to make an entire deck have blanks. And back comes a new fetch land.
Yeah, he doesn't want to put any dual lands down or they'll just get wasted.
That's right. There are 8 fetch lands for Jeremy Stowe's deck. Bobby leaving that Life from Loam in the yard this turn.
Yeah, I mean,
feels pretty loamed up.
Yeah, at this point, all he wants to do...
Academy Runes for the Chalice.
Wow. Jeremy needs to play a Scavenging Ooze right now.
Oh, my goodness.
All right.
And what?
Maybe he doesn't see it.
He's drawing a card.
Unfortunately,
then he sees it. He's like, wait a second, what did I draw? Did that change my opinions about what I want to do? Okay. Maybe.
Oh, he doesn't do it.
Yeah, he saw it. He just decided not to do it this turn.
What makes his cards so good?
Did I see a Trinisphere? Is that what I see there as well? I don't think that was a Trinisphere. I must be misseeing that. Life from the Loam.
Loam getting back. So I think this is a little unnecessarily greedy. Just drop the Chalice for 4 again.
Actually, that might be a Trinisphere. Trinisphere is great against free counterspells. Fetch. Getting 1 mana as protection against a Daze.
So Kovacs up to 6 land of a variety of, 2 Tropicals, a Bayou, an Academy Ruins, a Mox Diamond, and a Wasteland. With a Chalice on 1. Up against Jeremy Stowe, who almost his entire deck is locked out.
There it is, Trinisphere. Trinisphere, right now, Bobby Kovacs pretending to be a Stacks deck, and doing a pretty good job of it.
Man.
Jeremy looking at a handful of promotional cards.
How can you possibly cheer for a guy who does this instead? Like, Hypergenesis has like dragons and demons and angels and aliens.
I love decks like this.
You can't cheer for a guy who has Chalice of the Void and Trina's Sphere in play.
You
got no soul.
Are the Eldrazi aliens?
Yes, that's what Eldrazi are.
Aren't they Elder Gods?
Yes,
Cthulhu?
like Cthulhu. Same thing,
Okay.
man. It's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's all the same thing. They're just aliens.
Loam for 3 now with Trinisphere out.
Yes.
Life from the Trinisphere, the 3 drink minimum. You have to pay at least 3. You can pay more, but at least 3.
Yes, they are the space between the space. Absolutely. Dude, what? Is there like a Call of Cthulhu quantum physics book? It feels like there should be like a Venn diagram, a lot of overlap between people who are interested in both of those subjects and just the truth of what is. Like,
oh, Jeremy, you are a trooper to play this onwards.
Trooper or glutton for punishment. This is a Trinisphere. It's like what else? Like there's no. What else is going on?
And actually, to be fair, we've got Loam, Wasteland, 2 mana, and that's it. There's nothing left for Jeremy to do. He has no ability to meet the 3 mana minimum any longer. Jeremy looking.
Never give up. Never surrender. Whenever you're thinking about giving up, ask yourself, what would Reed Duke do?
And Bobby Kovacs, Loam.
Huh.
3 more cards for an Academy Runes to do some work on.
Absolutely.
3 mana, Life from the Loam. Da-da-da-da. Brings back Tranquil Thicket, and Wasteland, perhaps? Waste your waste. And again, Jeremy Stowe.
This is, I mean, he can't play any more
Can't
spells
play
the rest
spells.
of this game. But he's gaining information about how Bobby sideboarded.
There we go.
That's correct. He is actually gaining information because the more Bobby mills his own deck, the more Jeremy finds out.
Jeremy tapped by the Rishadan
You know what?
Port.
That's a good play.
Tranquil Thicket, cycling to draw at the end of the turn.
So Bobby Kovacs continues to just have land in play. And a Trinisphere and a Chalice on 1. Jeremy Stowe, unable to actually play any cards, is in the position of watching Bobby Kovacs dredge his library so that he can gain a microscopic amount of information to help him in Game 3. I see why it is that Mark Rosewater and Aaron Forsythe and Zach Hill, when they write their columns about this, why they talk about not designing cards like this anymore. Like Trinisphere or Chalice of the Void or Rishadan Port or Wasteland or any of this business. This is... I mean, it's interesting and it's a strategic battle, but it is highly repetitive, like in terms of the game state.
Do you think Bobby is having fun?
I think he's not particularly stimulated. No. There's a certain flow, when you're in this moment of flow, when you're being challenged, when you're being pushed to the limits. Yeah. Not a play, no.
Bobby Tranquil.
His deck, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing he has.
To win with? Yeah.
We see a
Creeping
ghost.
Tarpet is how he wins.
Ghost Quarter.
He can also just run you out of cards.
Ghost Quarter there.
I love that he has no Mishra's
basics
Factories.
for
36
Jeremy.
land, and he could not make room for Mishra's Factory. He wins with 2 Creeping Tar Pits.
It's a path.
Absolutely. And eventually you put out Zern Orb in case your opponent's got a bunch of plows so that you can keep sacking them.
And Jeremy waiting to see what happens next. A tapped Misty Rainforest.
See, because he has Crucible in his deck, he can continue this lock even without the loaming. He doesn't actually have to keep loaming forever. Additionally, because he has Academy runes, he's not going to get decked.
Information.
Information.
The king of the realm here. Ghost Quarter again. Lots of cards for Bobby Kovacs. Perhaps some land to the yard. Maze of Ith. Oh, yep, Maze of Ith. Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale. Upkeep. He's tapping that Misty Rainforest with the Rishadan Port. And I think we're going to see end of the turn once again. A cycling of the Tranquil Thicket from Bobby Kovacs. Just, there we go. Right. Jeremy. That's enough.
I feel like Owen Turtenwald in the GP Vancouver. Like, when does it end? You know he snuck in at X3 into day 2?
Did not know that.
Looking forward to Avacyn Restored Limited not having to play it anymore, and instead X and 3 you got to make day 2. And then X and 4 you have to play it out, trying for the cash. There's nothing like having to grind out like 4 wins in a row to try to hit a min cash. That's where you find out about a person's resolve, you know? So we're going to go into game 3. Jeremy Stowe playing Rug Delver. Won the first game when his opponent didn't have Chalice of the Void in his deck.
Being on the play, Jeremy will have a chance to not only have a land in play to daze with, but a creature in play before a Chalice stops everything.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, it's always possible. I realize how it might be unlikely, but Jeremy Stowe is not Ephro. It's possible his opponent will not river the Stowe nuts, you know, or whatever poker slang sells the story.
Waiting in the wings, Caleb Durward with Elves, as designed by Chris Anderson. Caleb looking forward to one of these two being his opponent. He's just ready to, I think, get this underway and pick up a nice check. $15,000 given away this weekend. Caleb wants as much of it as he can get.
Is it? It's 15K?
15. Actually, let me
more
think.
than that, right?
I believe it's 15K per weekend. Let me do a quick check.
We have our fact-finding team. www.google.com.
That's right. Yes.
Don't be evil. Alright. As is traditional with Legacy, both players are spending 7.5 minutes shuffling.
Get busy shuffling.
Now, is Bobby taking a mulligan? I've noticed he's still shuffling. No.
Oh,
they're
what?
back round 3 of shuffling.
That's right. The prize pool, ever since the pool has been lifted, it's $10,000 a day. $10,000 for standard, $10,000 for legacy.
Insane. What I enjoy are the people who still use words like, oh, 5K. Is this the 5K weekend? Try 20K. Next.
$20,000 of Magic the Gathering prizes given away this weekend.
That's insane. Dude, $1 million. Over $1 million this year.
That's right. That's right. You know, I think that if you are someone that has a Star City Games Open Series event coming near you, you should make sure to get as many people as you can into that car. Drive 5 hours. Drive 8. Drive 10.
This is your advice?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Drive 10 hours?
Yeah, Magic is great.
Dude, drive 10 hours to the coal mine. Put in a good, honest day's work for your 23 cents an hour.
No,
Uphill,
I think what I'm looking
walking
at here
barefoot
is the good times
on
and
razor
the possible
blades
payouts.
in the snow. Negative 30 degrees.
I like the good times.
Absolutely, dude.
I think you are one of those people that has driven more than 10 hours to much smaller events because the joy of Magic.
Dude, when you gotta win a PTQ, you gotta win a PTQ. You gotta get that done. Now, to be fair, I was already qualified at the time, so I was just going for the $500 first place. You kids today, you don't know how good you got it. Well, 20,000. First place is what? What is first place for this thing? Like a couple $1,000, right?
$2,400 for both days.
Plus the SCG points and the invitational invite.
Now, for those of you who have not seen the MTV Invitational commercial Remember, for some Magic players, you don't win, you don't eat.
Jeez, oh Pete. You guys are ruthless.
If you, after this tournament, do yourself a favor, everyone, check out the MTV Invitational Magic Tournament and see the amazing old school Magic commercials of old. Jeez.
Like Hammer,
Yeah.
Justice, Long.
That's Brian Hacker. He's a professional player. If he doesn't win, he doesn't eat. I actually don't remember whether it was Hacker, Hammer, Long, or Justice where they said if he doesn't win, he doesn't eat. But I think it might have been Hacker. Nimble Mongoose, loose here for Jeremy Stowe. Bobby Kovacs hoping for a very fast draw. We don't want to see from Bobby a similar draw to his slow affinity draw, which worked out for him. But Goose, unlike the other creatures in the affinity deck, cannot be stopped by a maze. Chrome Mox works. Exploration, does it work? Is it in play? Days on the exploration. Oh boy.
Whoa!
Oh my
hey,
goodness.
hey.
Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale, money well
Hey,
spent
come on now.
here.
Come on.
The Nimble Mongoose unable to be paid for. Dead. Wow, that was pretty
Hey
awesome.
now. Come on. Dude, dude, Ricky, is this legal? Are you even allowed to do this to people? He got his opponent to play a Daze on the first turn, and then he dropped a turn 1 Tabernacle.
Ricky Hayashi walking up to say, hey,
Dude, that's not even...
just missed the awesome action.
Alright, so Bobby Kovacs with a Wasteland, a Mox Diamond, and a Tabernacle of freaking Vale. Against Jeremy Stowe's Tropical Island. Both players with a big grip, but... I mean, every time you draw the correct random one of, it's not even fair. So Jeremy Stowe does have a Tormod script in his hand, so he's got some interaction to try to mess with a loam. What he really needs to do is put down a clock. But it's tough because he doesn't want to open himself up to getting Chalice of the Voided for one. Where it's just curtains. This is it's a tough spot, but until Bobby Kovacs has a life from the loam, he still has a reasonable counterplay. Jeremy Stowe, another shot at a Nimble Mongoose. In a Tormod script, he wants to get it down while he can. Bobby Kovacs surveying his options. That Tabernacle, so effective at stopping creature assaults. Fetching. Or rather fetching play, if I do say so myself.
I was going to say that. Darn it, too fast. Too fast to the draw. I'm too slow, Patrick too fast. Wasteland, Mox Diamond, Tropical Island, Tabernacle. One side of the table. The other one, Tormod script, Goose, and both of the colors of mana. Make that only 2 of them now that the Wasteland has been employed. Red-green left, and a brainstorm happening for Jeremy Stowe.
Debating on what to put back. This is not a bad situation as long as Bobby can't start recursing Wastelands. Ships the turn.
Pays for his Goose.
It's always a sight when the land deck is mana screwed. Another Wasteland. The Goose is loose. Pretty close to time to go ultimate.
The Relentless Assault.
Yes. Dude, why doesn't he play that? Goose. Goose you again, bro. Bobby Kovacs drops his 3rd land.
Trinisphere.
So,
Please play no more spells,
like we
Jeremy.
were talking about Jeremy never playing any more spells. He's got
Is that a Force of Will?
this.
You've
Yeah, he's
got to get rid of
right?
it.
Like otherwise, he's never going to cast that Force of Will.
There you go. I mean, it almost feels right now as though Bobby Kovacs, in a certain sense, is the beatdown here answer this. You got anything? You got anything? Jeremy Stowe fetching up another land, giving him access to both of his colors of mana. Or, sorry, all three. Correction. Not both. A quick announcement that was given me by Ricky Hayashi. As a result of the DQ in the top 8, all of the people below have been moved up a place. This means that Tristan Woodsmith, 65th place, will now be 64th and get $50 prize. Ryan Forsberg, who was in 33rd place, will now have a $100 prize, another $50. And Teresa Buss not only gets an invitation to the Star City Games Invitational Series, but also gets $200 that wasn't otherwise... An extra $200 extra dollars, yes. And this means that officially we could say that we have... And remember, Teresa was tied for this top 8. Teresa, with Maverick, is our 8th place finisher.
Absolutely. So Bobby Kovacs, transmuting Teleria West. Looking for engineered explosives to clear the board of Nimble Mongoose.
Now,
Jeremy Stowe, still just 2 land and a Tormod script. What's interesting though is that so many of Bobby Kovacs' one-ofs, like the more that pile up in the graveyard, the less options he's going to have later whenever Jeremy Stowe decides to pull the trigger on that Tormod script.
All of these players in the top 8, including now Teresa Buss, will be having the option for whichever invitational they choose to play for $75,000 each time. That's in Atlanta, that's in Los Angeles, coming on up. In with the goose again. What is the count at? 1, 2, 3. Is it there? Is it 6 or is it 7? Untap. Bobby Kovacs draws a card. Engineered explosives in hand. Land. Engineered explosives for 1.
Absolutely. Got to keep the goose under control.
It's a Maze of Ith in hand. Blows the explosives. No stifle from Jeremy Stowe. Jeremy comes back with Tarmogoyf. Maze of Ith still in Bobby Kovacs' hand. It says Zuranorb. Maybe I missaw that. Maybe that was not a Maze of Ith.
Is this Oblivion Stone?
O-Stone.
Zuranorb.
Zuranorb Maze. Oh,
bam, bam.
Boom. No
Thank
cards
you.
for Bobby Kovacs.
Goddamn. Well, this is a little bit of a turn of momentum. However, Jeremy still has that Tormod script, which is a big game.
Maze of Ith just stopping the Tarmogoyf until a wasteland can be found. Remember, we did see a critical stifle stop the activation. Oh, Chalice for 1.
If this
resolves.
All right. Well, Bobby Kovacs.
One more nail in the coffin.
Bobby Kovacs advances to the finals of SCGDetroit.
And Maze on the Tarmogoyf.
Sometimes you got to throw the percentages out the window. Just rely on your gut and cards that one card combo kill your opponent by themselves.
See the kill right there.
Bajukabog?
Oh, Bajukabog. I'm sorry. I thought that was the Creeping Tar Pit.
Dude, it might as well be the kill.
Tarmogoyf has suddenly become still fairly large given Bobby's graveyard, but Maze stops it, and he has no graveyard of his own. And we see the first fate counter being placed on the Zuranorb. Now, it's worth noting that that counter on the Chalice is not a fate counter.
Is it a Chalice on 2, or is that a bridge?
That's a bridge. I can't tell.
If that's a bridge, then it's pack it up.
Brainstorm gets countered by the Chalice.
All right, this is concession.
Yeah, says Jeremy.
Okay.
And Sack. Maybe he's going to let's see. You said there was no removal for artifacts in his.
Correct.
Wow.
0.
Then, yeah, that's the lock. Jeremy, his opponent Bobby knows that Jeremy has no outs at this point. He has seen his deck list. has Jeremy remembered that he has no outs at this point?
Oh, he just took a look through his deck and saw all 0 of them.
He looked pretty quickly, though, and started shuffling, so maybe he needs just a glance one more
Maybe
time.
he just doesn't want to know. I don't want to know. Dude, are we performing later, by the way? I was wondering.
Oh.
I know you've been practicing.
My dance moves aren't up to speed here,
I'm not
Patrick.
doing dance moves, dude. Let's just rock the mic here. Certainly no more commentating to do on this match.
Life from the loam.
Stormborn years ago, 9 all alone, trapped in my mind.
Jeremy does use the crypt. Loam now in an empty graveyard by itself. Jeremy going through the motions, forcing Bobby to kill him, apparently.
It's not over. Nothing's over. Heaven forbid we get out of the hall before they kick us out at midnight.
And we see a fate counter put on the ensnaring bridge. There is currently not a fate counter on that Chalice of the Void. That is a Chalice counter for 1.
So that's the play. Hope that you play a second Goyf, get him to blow the Oblivion Stone, despite the fact that he has a Zern Orb and a ton of land, and you have and he has a maze. Get him to blow it, getting rid of the Chalice, and allow you to start climbing back in.
Maybe that's the plan.
Dude, I respect that. Yes.
Let's
He has a
see.
loam too.
Yeah.
All right.
Loam going.
No, and that's cool.
Loam.
Do we have any updates from on the other side when we were watching paint peel? Did the paint successfully?
I think it peeled, was scraped off. A new coat was put down.
Dude,
And
why
that
did we
one-
why did we watch 2 land stacks? Are we insane?
This is the kind of magic I love, honestly. Talaria West, is that going to get the creeping tar pit? Is
I
that
hope not. Yes, that's what I'm talking
Chalice.
about. Don't get a tar pit. Enjoy it, savor it. Let it just melt in your mouth.
Oh,
just
man.
yes, days. Punish him.
And he paid.
Damn it, he paid. He saw it. Well,
Second maze of if.
so there's a chalice on 1 and a chalice on 2.
Or is that a chalice on?
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
So, Bobby Kovacs defeating Jeremy Stowe, advancing to the finals. I would not want anybody who's learning how to play Magic to watch this. This is good expert level stuff if you've been playing for a few years, but this is kind of...
in before Bobby Kovacs gets to do anything. Actually, I have decided to change my affiliation for one reason. I would love to see a fast 2-0 victory.
2-0.
I mean, I would love to see a 2-0 victory. I'm not talking about...
Oh, you want either way, though? You
Yeah.
just want it to be 2-0?
I want it to be...
You want to be decisive.
Nice, yeah. Gotcha.
Very clear. A nice, long, drawn-out chess match, 2-0.
No. I'm looking for the clock to be as quick as possible. Turn 1, Verdant Catacombs from Caleb Durward. It looks like there were no mulligans. Forest is going to be fetched out, and one of any number of mana elves is likely to be on the table.
I'm rooting for Findorn Elf.
Llanowar Elf.
Damn it.
Oh, the cousin of Findhorn Elf.
All right.
Llanowar Elf.
All right.
His cold, temperatured cousin may be in the deck somewhere waiting to come out.
I'm sorry, that's not actually a Llanowar Elf. That's a Llanowar Elves.
And we have comic book guys tapping in for Patrick Chapin.
No, I'm just trying to be technically correct. It's the best kind of correct.
Bobby Kovacs here.
Going very, very deep into the tank about what
Mox.
to push to the Mox Diamond. Tranquil Thicket. And you know what? That's a good call. Oh my gosh. Caleb's excited. Man, I hope that means he has Glimpse. Bojuka Bog. Raven's Crime.
Lose a card.
Wow, Bojuka Bog. He discards the... Wow. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Mirror entity to the yard. The
If
subject.
I can't have fun, neither can you.
The subject of our trivia question last
Both the
round.
Raven. Yes, it's true.
Let's see what happens here. 2
Oh, it's
mana.
Visionary?
Visionary it is. Draw a card. Another land.
Caleb just wants to try to establish his resources a little bit. He's not under a huge amount of pressure, but he knows he's going to run out of cards in his hand very, very, very quickly. So he wants to get as much down on the table as he can. Part of the reason why it's so valuable for Bobby Kovacs to go after his hand like this is because if Caleb can't keep any cards in his hand, he can't go off with Glimpse unless he has a Wirewood Symbiote in play to start it. You know. Really, Bobby's main thing here, he just wants to try to find a loam or whatever he needs to do, because as soon as he gets a Tabernacle, the entire texture of the game changes.
Wasteland.
Caleb very intelligently
gonna
going
be a
after
go?
the basic forests.
He says go. No other place.
That's because he has intuition. That's my intuition, anyway.
Another Visionary. There it
Yes.
is. Draw a card. Wirewood Symbiote.
That's what he was looking for. That's the hot stuff. Now all he needs is a Heritage Druid or a Nettle Sentinel to be cooking with gas.
Having a Llanowar Elf, a Quirion Ranger, and a Wirewood Symbiote gives you an excellent, excellent engine for mana. There's the Symbiote.
Remember, it's all fun and games early on when Caleb just gets to do everything, you know, unmolested by Bobby's mana denial strategy. But as soon as the Tabernacle comes down,
He picks up a Elvish Visionary with the Wirewood Symbiote, untapping his Llanowar Elf as a result.
still no Heritage Druid and no Birchlaw Ranger.
1 mana. 2 mana from a land from the hand. Once again, Elvish Visionary. Another Symbiote.
Now, is he going to pick up a forest with his Quirion Ranger, untap his elf, and play another symbiote?
I wouldn't mind. That'd be solid if you ask me.
Question is, does it get him any? Maybe it does. I don't know. I know he's got a tank on it, but he also would kind of love to. Yeah.
There it is. Forest. The Quirion Ranger untaps Llanowar Elf.
He's got to be prepared, though, because he's looking at an Intuition this turn, and Intuition is going to be able to find a Tabernacle and a Loam. Meaning that the way this turn is going to end, next turn he's going to be paying an awful lot of mana.
Wirewood Symbiote again. Is this going to be an attack? Boom. In for 2.
Taste.
Next turn, just with these 1/1s, 6 damage. Caleb.
Oh, no. He's going to be spending a lot of mana, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he were to just to attack.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Caleb showed me with a lot of glee a card in his sideboard. He said, "Guess what I got to do?"
What did he do?
Showed me a humility. And apparently, this sneak and tell, when they do that show and tell, they come into play simultaneously. Humility means Gristlebrand ain't so good.
I love it.
Intuition,
Very cool.
as you called, Bobby Kovacs, gonna pick up a $200, $300 bill, put it into the graveyard.
Away from the loam, and then one other. The question is, what is the other? Because he needs to get more going on. The Tabernacle's good, but it's not going to win the game for it. It's not going to win the game completely on its own.
He's looking. Saw a Glacial Chasm amongst the cards he had slipped to the top there. Chasm, Tabernacle, Tropical
Already
Island.
has the loam. Huh. Yeah.
You can have the Chasm. It's not a good feeling.
you. Okay. Glacial Chasm, okay.
Untap.
So, I think Caleb's big hope here is that Bobby plays the Glacial Chasm. 'Cause if there's anything we've learned about Bobby's deck, it is you should not play your cards, and your opponent should not be able to play his cards.
That's magic.
Yes. Play the game, see the world. Don't do anything in lots of different countries.
Oh, 2 mana. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, which 2? This 2. That black mana might be useful. Raven's Crime in the
Dude,
yard.
just wasteland the Pendlehaven. Make him taste it. Is he trying to Raven's Crime this
Raven's
business?
Crime as well. Just throwing a Raven's Crime into the
Dude,
mix.
go after his mana. You don't have time for all this knocking his hand around. Dude, all right.
Prime losing in Academy Ruins.
All right, now give him the business in the deli.
What? Wow. That is a glacial chasm. I like the tabernacle there.
What? Did he mix up the artwork on that?
In game 1, what can Caleb do to the glacial chasm? In game 1, they have seen each other's deck lists.
You can deck him the long way with Green Sun Zenith.
I don't know. I think that it just might be that.
But you know that thing's got an upkeep.
Right?
You can't just do this. He doesn't have Exploration or Mana Bond. Glimpse. Now Caleb's going to put his all his business in the deli. Dude, what?
That was an insane play by Bobby Kovacs, I think.
I mean, maybe he's already won. And we're going to have to tip our hats to him. If this is if he just has the game locked up and there's just nothing that Caleb can do, then, more power to him. So, Caleb Glimpse plays a Birchlore Ranger.
This combo...
Let's get the party started, right? He needs a Nettle Sentinel.
There's the Heritage Druid.
Still needs a Nettle Sentinel.
This combo is fully capable of putting every creature permanent from Caleb's deck into play. Another Heritage Druid.
Sure. The one that's really exciting here, though, is, what if you just Viridian Shaman that Mox Diamond? What's... I don't know what's going on right now. He's going to be able to pay for the Tabernacle now.
The Priest of Titiana, is someone in play? But it doesn't matter, the Heritage Druid takes care of the need.
Yeah. This is...
Madness.
This is Sparta. This is also madness, dude. Alright, Caleb. Now, keep in mind, of course, this doesn't... just because he casts Glimpse of Nature and is going to draw 10 cards doesn't mean that he's won the game. It is very possible for him to just end up putting a bunch of good stuff in play. And, he's got to play around Engineer Explosives. He's got to... What if this is just the Sucker Punch? The overlay for the underlay. He's just trying to get Caleb to put a bunch of cards in play so that he can use Engineered Explosives and make him taste it. Right? No, that's greater glory, right? Tabernacle, he doesn't have any cards in play anymore. It's not even that impressive.
He returns the Quirion Ranger to his hand with the Wirewood Symbiote to untap the Llanowar Elf.
He's very close to being infinite with that Mirror Entity in his hand.
There's the Quirion Ranger.
Some Nettle Sentinel action. Some sweet, sweet Nettle action.
Draws a card from Glimpse of Nature. Land for the turn from Caleb. A Verdant Catacombs. Fetches.
Is it time for the Savannah mana? Yeah, I saw. I'm not even saying anything anyway. We're literally babbling. This is crazy. Alright, so let's just play by play. There's 2 Elvish Visionaries, Heritage Druid, 2 Wirewood Symbiotes, Quirion Ranger, Birchlore Ranger, and 2 land. Facing down a Bajuka Bog, Mox Diamond, and a Glacial Crevice. Bobby cuts the deck.
1, 2, 3 mana.
Caleb adding 3 green to his pool for a change. I'm seeing a green creature in his future.
Zing.
What do you know? It was white. Now at this point, he can pay a mana, turn all those guys into elves, and now he can start doing this loop where each of the Wirewood Symbiotes can be reset, right?
Yes.
I saw it as soon as you cited it in. I knew it was gonna happen. Did you see?
They're all elves.
3 mana. Elvish Visionary, draw some manas.
Now for those not familiar with how the combo works, once you can turn Wirewood Symbiote into an elf because of Mirror Entity, it can actually bounce itself. And because it bounces, it costs 1 mana and it effectively makes 1 mana because of Heritage Druid, and the Nettle Sentinels give you extra mana, you can make as much mana as you want, and you can draw as many cards as you want. Now, there is a little bit of a limiting factor in that every time he plays a creature, he's going to have to draw a card.
It's a must. Glimpse of Nature says, draw it.
But if he gets enough Nettle Sentinels in play, he can make enough extra mana so that he can use Green Sun Zenith over and over again and just miss, so that he never runs out of cards in his deck. So he is infinite at this point in the sense that he can do as much as his deck actually can do.
And Caleb points to the cards in play and says, is that enough for me to just draw my deck as I'd like? Caleb already laid a land this turn. Priest.
He wants to get creatures from different casting costs in play.
Nettle Sentinel untaps.
What he really needs to do is find that Viridian Shaman, hit that Mox Diamond.
1 mana there. Heritage Druid.
Nettle Sentinel and Heritage Druid tapped. Now, is he not, I mean,
Green Suns
does
for
he
1.
not have more mana? Like, where did all his mana go?
He does not have enough to... He needs 1 more Nettle Sentinel in order to be able to have the infinite mana combo, I believe. I could be wrong. Is that incorrect? That might be incorrect. I'm a little tired at this point. We started commentating at 9 a.m. yesterday and went till late. Woke up this morning. We're commentating at 8 a.m. He is not acting like a man with infinite mana.
No, he definitely is not. I've seen men with infinite mana.
Does he look like a man? Anyway. Wirewood Symbiote number 3. Out of the deck.
And I'm sure everybody watching home can tell, like, knows exactly why we're all just a bunch of buffoons.
It's true, it's true.
Like,
please forgive us, we are tired.
You know, we're not bothering to do math, because you know what? Math is hard.
1, 2, 3 mana. Three.
Wirewood Symbiote.
Looks like infinite to me. Well, it's not really infinite, it's just... a lotsies.
And he also has to keep track of not only which symbiotes he's used or not used, but also which ones are currently elves and which ones are currently insects. Not insects, but which ones are not changelings. Caleb draws another card. So Nettle Sentinel and Wirewood Symbiote. He's looking for another Nettle Sentinel. But honestly, he mostly just wants the Viridian Shaman to hit that Mox Diamond, because sometimes you just gotta break some stuff. You know what I mean?
If you're breaking stuff for a good reason, it's a lot better than just accidentally doing it.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. It's like very zen, dude.
Green Suns.
Gonna see a Green Sun Zenith for, is it gonna be the Nettle Sentinel? The Viridian Shaman. Yep, just make him taste it. Viridian Shaman hits the Mox Diamond.
Okay, and Caleb has a shortcut on a loop for 1 mana and 1 card. He has properly demonstrated Bobby Kovacs that he has a loop for 1 mana and 1 card, and building that up, got the mana for the Green Sun Zenith for the Shaman there. Or Shaman if you are in another part of the world. Unfortunately, right now, because Bobby did not lay the Tabernacle on that previous turn, the Priest of Titania means that Caleb can pay for basically everything he has out there.
Priest to Titania, yeah. Dude, this is so much mana. Like, it's literally, at this point, Bobby Kovacs is just locked into having to keep that Glacial Chasm around, right?
Yeah. Untap. 1. Pays the life.
So, John is playing against,
Does he have any more interaction? I mean, he destroyed the Mox, and that was cool. That's it, right?
Yep.
All
And he
right.
can destroy every Mox.
Yeah. He can keep the Mox and the Zern Orb, too.
Yes.
Keep it off the table. I respect that. I'm a firm believer in it.
It's a pass. Oh, no, the point of the figure usually indicates that, but it was not truly the case this time. Using the Tabernacle to Raven's Crime for 1. That's one way.
That's a bold move against a man with 7 cards in his hand.
Gotta start somewhere. And go.
I mean, that's pretty gangster. Alright, so Caleb, arranging his mana in the form of the 1 card he can hope to draw. A Green Sun Zenith for 60. And at this point, Caleb doesn't really have anything else to offer to the game, right? Like, it's just, as soon as Bobby Kovacs can't keep up with that Glacial Chasm anymore, the game is over. At this point, Caleb is just hanging out.
Yep, and he says go. Bobby pays.
Bobby, meanwhile, has to try to assemble. Wow. He needs a mana bond or an exploration because he's got to be able to play 2 land in a turn. He's already got the loam, but
Tranquil Thicket cycled by Bobby Kovacs. And as you said, at this point, Caleb just waiting to see if Bobby dies to himself. Oh, is that the tar pit?
there is looming doom for Bobby Kovacs as soon as this chasm goes away.
Land. No point in attacking into a chasm.
When the other land kept being played, it should have been bad.
Tapped for some mana. Green Suns for
60?
a few.
See if he's got anything in his deck that costs 60 or less.
Just a quick recap of what I've got in my deck, says Caleb. Oh yeah, all this stuff.
Go.
That's cool.
Do you think you'll get a Tothicon worm or
So-
Terastodon?
Fun there. He he just looks through the deck. Oh yeah, all these cards.
These are
Shuffles
cool.
the Green Suns in. Doesn't find anything. That's totally fine.
Dude, no, it's also possible he just didn't have any green creatures in his deck that cost less than 60.
I don't want him to go back. I want him to put the land in play and
Huh.
not be able to get the mana. He shouldn't be able to get the mana.
And we've got an upkeep to think about. 3.
He's just trying to know a run through.
How much left?
He's like, but it has an alternate casting cost on it.
The draw. Did Bobby find something?
Kovacs up to a Bazooka Bog, a Tropical Island, a Creeping Tar Pit, and whatever land he plays this turn. Interestingly, Kovacs trying to assemble enough mana so that when he eventually lets the chasm go and has to bring it back again, that he's got enough resources to work with. It's going to be a tough grind, but it's very doable. I mean, this game is literally anybody's game, but it's just a question of Bobby's solitaring against himself.
Intuition.
So,
What's he getting?
explorations, I'm assuming.
Mana Bond? Oh, you can't get Mana Bond. He's only got 2 Mana Bonds. Wow. God. Really? Just 2?
So I think he's going to get exploration.
Oh, gosh.
He's in pretty good shape. This next turn he lets the chasm go. And then he goes life from the loam, get back chasm and other stuff. Play 2 land, a chasm and another. I think this is it. I think this is it. You know, I hope Caleb brings in Mortar Pod after Sideboarding. Does he have Mortar Pod? He does. I hope
does.
He brings it in so that during the brief window when you let the chasm go, I guess you can't move it around.
You
though.
can't move it around unless you've got, what's that guy from The Lion?
Yeah,
Leonin something?
Leonin something.
Exploration. And
Caracas.
Caracas.
There are a lot of nice ones in the Legend set.
And then there are cards that say, all of your creatures lose Planeswalk.
Dude, what I love about Legends is that they had multiple cycles of cards with no text, and they had multiple cycles of moats, like cards where you just cannot play the game anymore. Like land equilibrium, and like land tax, and the abyss, and moat.
The Abyss.
Dude,
Oh.
have you ever got to cast the abyss?
Yes. And I'm not talking about a fake The Abyss. I mean a real The Abyss. Okay. Loam.
All right. I'm guessing he's going to get Glacial Chasm back.
Oh, look at that. A Tolaria West.
So now the trick here is that he's eventually going to run out of cards in his deck. So he can't dredge Loam forever. But he has Academy Ruins so that he can not get decked also.
1 engineered explosive.
And that's eventually he starts making progress by explosiving every turn. Because he can't, well, there's also the Crucible. Because he's got to keep up with the Glacial Chasm. So what he's got to do sometimes is go Glacial, he's got to go play my Crucible, get back the Chasm, then Caleb Viridian Shamans and destroys the Crucible. And they do this every turn. I bet one or both of them already know who's going to win. I wish they'd tell us.
Tolaria West in play. Glacial Chasm eating the Tolaria West.
They don't make magic like this anymore. Or magic cards anyway. Nowadays it's like Baneslayer Angels and Thundermaws.
Morph. What could it be? And flipping it. Making some mana.
Caleb, eager to be an active member of the game.
Picks it back up. Morph. I can do stuff too that doesn't matter. Morph.
Draws a card from Glimpse. I enjoy that he used all his Wirewood symbiotes and stuff before glimpsing to make sure he's not tempted.
Oh boy. Oh, it's a Birchlore Ranger. He just, wants an opportunity to exercise his...
He's got to be careful because he's got to not run out of cards too. Of course he has green sensing it, so... Is this part of the psychological warfare? Throw Bobby off his game? Do a bunch of stuff so that Bobby forgets to pay the upkeep?
Not only does Caleb get to stretch his hands for a second there, but he does get to potentially get into Bobby's head.
Psychological warfare. For those of you tuning in at home, it is much more effective to do a bunch of useless actions to distract your opponent than to put a cheeseburger down next to the table when you're playing in order to try to get your opponent to focus on how hungry they are.
Waft the air in front of the cheeseburger.
That is...
Stop saying cheeseburger.
Dude.
Our director is
I
like,
could go for
don't
a
talk about a
cheeseburger
cheeseburger. From Twitter, Eric J. Seltzer, EJ Seltzer at the Twitter. I kick puppies, push grandma, and steal CDs like a boss. Go, Lands, go. AJ Kerrigan. Lands is for people who don't like fun. Belcher is for people who only like 2 minutes of fun.
Alright, so Caleb back to his wily ways. At this point, I think Caleb has cast 11 morph creatures this game. It's not clear what the most recent one is. Could be anything, even a boat.
Mark's son, also watching, a specialist in Legacy at All Suns Dawn, enjoying Caleb's trolling of Bobby during this match.
Now Caleb waits till Bobby's upkeep, and then it says, well, hold on, your upkeep. Then unmorphs the unmorphs the Birchwood Ranger.
You know what's
now
interesting?
he wants to read Life from the Loam.
Wait a second. Reading Life from the Loam.
All right, he picks up his cards.
Okay. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you. Now, let's make everyone at home have a chance to be a winner as well.
Absolutely.
By doing the giveaway trivia. You said you had a trivia question for all of our viewers at home. The way that this works, you can see this exasperated guy right here. One of you is going to have a chance to go to Good Time Island. Get your tickets now. It's a 4-day trip to Gen Con. 34,000 players of various games.
Absolutely.
Best 4 days in gaming.
Yep.
And how you do it? Hashtag SCG Premium with the correct answer to a trivia question that the one and only Patrick Chapin will be supplying. Now, please, do not burn this ticket to Good Time Island.
Absolutely.
If you can't go to Gen Con,
if you don't want to be at Good Time Island,
to be at this amazing 4 days of gaming,
if you like Landsdex and you don't want to have any fun, don't enter this.
Then please let somebody who wants to go win. So please don't enter unless you want to win. Now remember, if you are one of the winners, one of the people who selects the correct answer, someone from that group will be selected at random to be the winner of this. And make sure, if you win, that you follow SCG Live so that we can get you your prize. Trivia, what is the question
and
for
remember,
this finals match?
Remember, everyone's a winner, but only one person gets a prize. So the trivia question is, on what turn do you have to win by, or what turn do you have to win by to be a good guy?
Okay.
What turn? If you're a good person, if you're wearing a white hat, if you deserve all of the happiness that life has in store for the good, what turn should you be capable of winning by?
Now, for those of you who have been watching the Star City Games live coverage all day, don't go to the print coverage to figure this out. No. Just think back to the ways that Patrick has been talking about who's a good guy, who's a bad guy, or figure out maybe a guess on what turn. I remember in one match, JVL, that's nice, JVL rolling a die and saying, I'm going to kill you on this turn, and doing that all the way to being a Pro Tour champion. Was he a good guy? Maybe so. But what turn?
Your explanation for why JVL is a good guy
he's a great guy.
But your explanation is because he rolled a die before each match as a
I'm saying that it fits your good guy definition.
Only when he rolls
a 3, a 4. How low does he have to roll?
God,
we'll give you a hint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's in that die range roll.
Dude, it's like we just got Gataxian probed.
We did get Gataxian probed. That was a hard question, though, Patrick.
The Phyrexians are like opening up our mind right now.
We have a match here underway. Caleb Durward on the left.
It's like
Bobby
we're trying
Kovacs on the right.
trying to figure out why the hell all the people in Prometheus keep touching everything. You know, like we're sitting here trying to figure out the puzzle. I don't know.
So, twirling mustaches or white hats.
Is twirling mustache code for bad guy?
Yes.
Caleb is a man with many things on his face, none of which is a twirling mustache. That's a beard. That's a full-on. It's a very well-groomed, very aesthetically pleasing beard, but it is a beard nonetheless.
Now, Caleb, is he originally from this area? Because I know now he's in Chicago.
Yes. No, he's not from this area. He's from Chicago.
Oh, he's from Chicago? Okay.
I don't know. I just don't think he's from this area.
Okay, just curious.
But I can't. I mean, who do I know? Nah, probably not. At least not in the last 6 years. Bobby Kovacs, content with his early 1-0 lead. Remember, the game one was supposed to be the good one for Caleb.
Now, Caleb, apparently, he kind of voiced out loud, since they both have each other's deck lists to share with each other and go over when they're making their plans, he voiced out loud, maybe I should just bring in my humilities against you. See how long it takes you to kill me then. But apparently, according to the head judge, with the way that the layers and all of that fancy schmancy judge talk work,
Yeah, Creeping Tarpon still beats Humility.
Creeping Tar Pit is a 3/2 through a Humility.
Yeah.
It becomes a 3/2 creature.
Yep. But the yeah, no.
I'm going to just do a spoiler for one of our contestant winners, or not winners, contestant participants, Mark McManus Jr. He says 246 is the proper turn to be the good guy.
That is not going to win you 4 days on Paradise Island or whatever the hell.
Good Time Island.
Good Time Island, absolutely.
And, you know,
246.
turn 246, I mean, the man is not playing Battle of Wits here.
No, but they keep recursing their decks. They have like Academy Ruins and Greensuns in it.
Oh, we have a long day of Magic.
You know, it is possible that we actually reach a game state where neither player can win or advance the board. Or lose. It's literally just, okay, I'll Academy Ruins, the only artifact I didn't get Tormod scripted. And all right, I'll Greenstone's in for 0 again.
Here we go. Back and forth.
Go.
And you're right, you know, that could mean a turn 246 kill. I'm really sorry, Mark McManus Jr., for not keeping that quiet until later to see if you were the winner. Oh, boy.
You're not.
I am tired.
Well, you might be a winner, but you're not one of the people getting a prize.
I don't know about you, Patrick, but while I love watching Magic all day, and we've done it for 2 days in a row, man, I am a little tired and slap happy.
You know what? I'm kind of glad. At least we have a matchup that's going to let us enjoy the finals for a while.
Oh boy. Across the table, our director is making choking gestures.
Llanowar Elf.
Llanowar Elf. It's a war on them all.
Look, tell you what. How about Caleb just turn 2s him real quick?
That would be sweet. Turn 2.
I thought you wanted a 2-0.
Oh wait. Oh, that's right. I've got to go for the lands.
I told you. A quick 2-0, back and forth, long, drawn-out chess match.
Just make it
to the death by old age.
What just happened there? What's happening? It's Caleb going again. Is there a land in play? We were so busy being a little slap happy and
Bobby
insane.
Keep the old 0 land hand? What is going on right now? You can't just do this. Is this like? Are you making? Wait, is this a joke? Is this a sick joke?
Maybe he has
double Mox Diamond?
Mox Diamond Chalice for 1 draw, but he does not have the land he needs to make it work.
And he doesn't want to risk playing out the other Mox Diamond until he has the other land, because he doesn't want to get Viridian Shamaned.
That could be. I don't know. This will get out of hand
I love
pretty
it.
quick.
I love a good turn 1 Llanowar Elf. Go. Oh yeah, we'll go.
You know, I think what happened is Bobby Kovacs got the wrong memo and thought that land tax was in play.
No. I'm pretty sure this is literally just like reverse psychology. You know, like last game he plays lots of land, takes a long time. This game, this is like Bobby Fischer. Like you remember when Bobby Fischer's like trying to tilt Spassky when we were kids back in the 60s? You remember? 70, sure. Was it 72? Absolutely. No, wait, you were there. I remember that.
Yeah, I was there.
You were there. I remember it. I was negative 4 or whatever it was for you.
Right,
Negative 11.
So, Caleb casts Glimpse of Nature. He has 2 forests, a Priest of Titania, a Quirion Ranger, a Llanowar Elf, a Warrior with Symbiont, and 14 mana. Bobby Novaks has committed nothing to the board. He's not ready to make a move yet. But he's waiting for the right spot.
You know, actually, I could see him waiting to get 3 mana in his hand that he can drop all at once so that he can do Engineered Explosives for 1.
I mean, that's one way to do it. Dude, it's fun trying to put together the combination of cards that could be in Bobby Kovacs' hand that result in the correct line of play being just every turn discard face. These guys are playing for thousands of dollars. All right. And the worst part is, you don't like this is nobody's messing up. Like you don't go into the tank and come out with do nothing at all, unless you have a plan.
I mean, usually if you do something like that, you start with a Goose's Scepter at least.
Jeez.
Goose's Scepter, go, no land.
All right, I'll put another card into the scepter. Is Bobby considering? Is it time to make the move? Is it time to break the standoff? You know what? Now, to be fair, we laughed last game when he didn't play his Tabernacle. He just puts down the Glacial Chasm. Looks like he just has no permanence, but obviously had the game locked up. I think he actually just knows he has the game locked up. Oh no! All right, I guess they went to game 2. Bobby with a slightly less.
What did you
slightly less demanding standard for what it takes in order to pack. Oh, you could beat my 0 cards on turn 4. That's weird.
Okay, so I've got a possibility here.
Yeah.
Okay, so perhaps Mox Diamond, Life from the Loam, Mox Diamond, and 3 non-land. Or 1 land, and actually more likely 1 land and 2 other knots.
Dude, absolutely. There's like a ton of things he could have that are totally reasonable hands. Doesn't make it any less hilarious that this is how the game. This is welcome to Legacy. Drew Levin, I hope you're watching this. This is your fault.
And a smile on Caleb's face. Not only did he get to do a little bit of morphing and returning to his own hand during the lockout of Bobby Kovacs, now he gets to win with his opponent having nothing in play, not because he got rid of it, but no, because he just didn't ever play a single thing.
So what do you think? The way this game has gone, is there any way this game 2 doesn't end with or doesn't start with just a turn 1 Chalice for 1 on the play?
You know it's going to be a turn 1 Chalice
and
for 1.
And then Caleb doing 18 points of damage with like Priest of Titania.
I just know that after one of these people wins, I'm going to try to get myself to a coney, get me a coney, eat it, and be happy. I'm just so tired.
Dude, I got up this morning. Well, I came here, but then I eventually left and went back and had lunch, I guess, at this the buffet at the hotel.
Right.
So first of all, they tried to bamboozle me with like bottomless mimosas. Had no mimosas, got to work today, but it turns out that if you get the bottomless mimosas, they also give you bottomless fried chicken. I'm serious. At this place called Blush over at the Doubletree.
So, for those of you who have any sense of Patrick Chapin, you know that he has branded himself so well that many Magic players, if they hear the words fried chicken, immediately think of Patrick.
I don't know anything about that. What I do know is that bottomless fried chicken pretty much means I'm moving to the Doubletree. All right. As is traditional with Legacy, we're in the shuffling phase.
Eric Evans asks if this could be an elaborate scheme to be on the play in Game 3 and have some time on the clock. No, there's no clock here.
Right, that would make too much sense.
We are in the finals. Thank you for the question, Eric. If you have any questions, if there is a reasonable thing we can answer, at SCG Live is the place to send those questions to us. We get them. Glenn Jones, who gets them? Star City Games Detroit here. Star City Games Live. It's the final match, the final game, the final countdown. Caleb Durward, Bobby Kovacs. One of these people will be the winner at the end of this, and the other, second place. Patrick Chapin is here with me. I'm Adrian Sullivan. Whew. Waiting for Bobby Kovacs to try to put more permanence into play than that first game.
I mean, a few more.
That second game, I should say. These players have played just long enough for the venue now to have a large rainstorm around it. It wasn't here that long ago, but now apparently there's a downpour.
I think it's actually just setting the mood.
I think you were quoting Poe earlier, so here we are. Dark and stormy night. Maybe a dark and stormy night means it's time for the bad guys to win.
Dun 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 dun. All right, everybody at home. What turn are you rooting for Caleb to win on? I say this not because of being a fan of Caleb, but because early kills much more likely out of the elf deck. However, I'm hoping for a great intense chess match for the first 3 turns of the game.
Mox. Oh boy. Boom. Oh.
I'm
ow.
starting to think it's not going to be that fast of a game. Now, the good news is, eventually we have to leave. I mean, Viridian Shaman and Kasali Pride Mage provide multiple avenues of destroying the Chalice of the Void.
Turn 2 life from the loam. Wasteland. Caleb fetches with a Misty Rainforest. Priest of... the Priest would be good right here. Perhaps the best thing for him to drop on this turn?
I mean, Kasali Pride Mage would be kind of sweet. What all did he bring in? He's got a Scavenging Ooze, a Kasali Pride Mage. Probably the 4 Fairy Macabres, right? Or is he just going to try to be as fast as possible?
I think I also like Gaddock Teeg. Gaddock Teeg means that a Chalice can't be cast.
Sure, Gaddock Teeg. So you think you might just play full-on backup mode? Fairy Macabre too? Just to
I don't know about Fairy Macabre, but I think he does some of that stuff, not necessarily all of it.
Because he can get out of the lock with Fairy Macabre.
This is true. He can make it so that the Glacial Chasm does not come back. Without even needing to spend any mana, without even have to casting anything.
Yeah, even if he's full-on Chalice lock.
Yeah.
Also, he can deck Bobby, because when he starts tapping his Academy runes, each turn, discard 2 artifacts, or exile 2 artifacts, exile 2 more artifacts.
Turn 3. We see Rebecca Guai, Priest of Tatiana on the one side of the table, and then over here, Life from the Loam.
You struck me as a big fan of that artwork.
I do actually like Rebecca.
Rebecca Gay's very, very good. She's didn't she do Eternal Witness too?
Yes, she did. So, Christine Sprankle, if you're out there, since you did the Eternal Witness, there's other Rebecca Guai art that you could also do some awesome work with. Rebecca Gay, pardon me.
We've got Mox
There's
Diamond.
another Mox fighting, feeding that Loam. A Chalice for 2, blows it up. Goodbye to the board for Caleb.
So Caleb's big plan at this point is to try to get up to 4 mana so that he can Green Sun Zenith for a Viridian Shaman. Alternatively, he could just, at 3, go get a Kasali Pride Mage.
Turn 5 beginning. Not of extra turns, but of the game.
There will never be any extra turns of this. This just in, it sounds like the head judge has emergency errated the match to be best of 5. He wants to ensure that the most skill testing outcome possible is...
We have the head judge's email address if you'd like to put your comments to him on his decision to make this suddenly a best of 5.
So, Bobby untaps. Is he just on the tar pit beatdown plan?
The coverage just goes dark.
No, as long as, you know what, Bobby's attack with a tar pit. Good for him. Good on him.
Oh, okay.
You know?
You did? No, you did. Good.
Absolutely. Now, the tough thing is that Caleb is mana screwed, too.
A good note from Twitter. Therese Nielsen is Eternal Witness's
Really?
artist. I thought that was Rebecca as well.
Therese Nielsen, that's right.
Thank you
Did
to...
she do Force of Will also?
I'm not sure. Thank you to Polish Tamales for that
The
one.
best kind of tamales.
I'm actually kind of curious what a Polish tamale is. I've had many tamales in my time.
Correct.
They are a graphic artist that does a lot of Magic the Gathering stuff.
Oh, cool.
Check out their DeviantArt page, they're really cool.
Our director tells us that's a graphic artist that does a lot of... Say that again?
Magic the Gathering fan art.
Ah, magic fan art. Thank you.
So
Polish tamales.
In a fairly anticlimactic final game, the turn 1 Chalice ensures that Caleb can play no cards, and since he doesn't have any land, Beyond his 2, he's discarding each turn, while Bobby brings the Tar Pit Beats.
Another person notes pierogies? Polish tamales?
Awesome.
That's pretty good.
That's
Yeah, Therese Nielsen is force of will.
And there we have, thank you, Therese Nielsen is Force of Will, Cursed Totem, one of my favorite cards ever to see sideboard play.
Cutting off 50% of the Kasali Pride Mage Viridian Shaman action available to Caleb.
All it'll take now is a chalice for 3.
Alright, I'll go.
Well, Green Sun Zenith.
Oh, there you go. That'll get around that.
Caleb making his move. The Storm count is at 1. Storm count is at 2.
Go.
Caleb passes the turn.
Rather than discard, he shows that he has things he can still cast.
I respect that. I'm a firm believer in it. Alright. Caleb playing Misty Rainforest.
Dark Confidant.
Fetches.
It is possible now that
Savannah.
Bobby could lose.
So is he gonna go get the? Is he gonna drop Viridian Shaman?
Oh, what do we got? I see
Mirror
it.
Entity.
Boom.
There we go.
Take that, Totem.
Oh, he packs it in. He
He's
wins
scooped.
the moral victory, though.
Well, thank you to Caleb for being so kind to all of us with that concession.
Well, it was
Bobby
1 turn. He's
Kovacs.
had 3 life with that tar